All right, Randy, your internet, your Wi-Fi, something's still a little bit glitchy. So again, I'm going to put visuals over most of this. But my question for you is, when you think about the 7 Grammys that you've collected over your career, is there one in particular that means something a little more special than the others? I know they're all special, but maybe there's a story or a thought behind one of them that would be interesting for you to share.
Well, look, the one just as funny as you asked, I'll hold it up because it just came in the mail last week. Here it is, and this means a lot too. This one because I haven't received one in a few years. They're all special, in their own way. But this one was for best improvised solo, and it's from a tune of mine called Sozinho with the NDR Big Band. The record was released last year. Uh, and a studio record. The NDR Big Band is from Hamburg, Germany, and we've done a couple tours together, and we're given the permission to record the thing, and it just came out great. It's one of my favorite records, both with what I play and the way the band sounds. There were some special guests. Ada played on it, Sanborn played on 3 tunes, and my good friend Wolfgang Hafner from Nuremberg, who's very well known in Germany and somewhat here, but he's for sure just a fantastic drummer, was the drummer. So it's swinging and there's some great solos. The idea was to have a kind of the traditional Brecker Brothers front horn, 3-horn, original front horn line, and then augment it with a big band, which was then augmented by an extra woodwind section. So there were a lot of colors on the record. So this one really means a lot because I really happen to love this record. Other ones, they all mean something, but some other ones, I didn't think the records were that deserving, but I'll take it. There's one that I did in Brazil called Randy in Brazil. This is when they had the contemporary jazz category that I think is a really good record, but I was shocked, when it won a Grammy. I didn't think it was that good. I guess somebody did. I enjoyed doing it. Was in Sao Paulo, and I had some great musicians, and I had picked the material. But this one, they did all my tunes, and I love the arrangements, the way they recreated the tunes from different periods. Tell you another exciting one was the very first Grammy I got, because it was a record called Into the Sun, on which I had written everything. It was all original compositions and arrangements, and it was my impression of Brazilian music. This was in 1997. And why I remember that so vividly, I was touring Europe with Billy Cobham, and we were playing at Ronnie Scott's, and I get a phone call that I just won a Grammy. I was so involved in the European tour that I didn't even realize the Grammys were taking place. So it was a total surprise. Usually when I'm here, then became more cognizant to kind of keep up with it when I was nominated, or if Mike was nominated. So they're all special in their own way. Another one is with my brother, which was a record called Out of the Loop. So that one was special too. But I have 7 now, and Mike was up to 13. I don't know how many times he was nominated, but quite a few times. And the other interesting thing is, whenever we went, eventually we started to go. There was one year I was up for 4 nominations for a record, this time with the Danish radio big band. So I decided to go. You have to pay to go out there and pay for your hotel. They don't give any expenses. Even the guys they give the Lifetime Achievement Awards to, that year it was Clark Terry. He's on an age. He had to buy a plane ticket. I have my issues with Naris. I was a governor. But whenever we would go to the Grammys, we lost. That year I had 4 nominations for that record, and they do it really quick. 5 seconds later, said, "Oh, I lost. Okay, well, I came all the way out here." But the pre-party are fun to go to, and years ago the actual Grammys were a lot of fun. They were in a small theater, the Dorothy Chandler Pavilion, which held maybe 1,700 people, and they did feature jazz quite a bit. In 1992, I actually played on the Grammys with with Arturo Sandoval. 4 trumpets. We did a tune off his record celebrating Clifford Brown. Chuck Finley and Byron Stripling with a really good rhythm section from the Yellow Jackets. No sound check, no nothing. They just, Michael Jackson and Janet Jackson were on stage before us. They just shoo you on stage, play, in front of 30 million people. And we had paid Arturo to try to play Cherokee a little slower because we had to play the inner parts, number one, which were impossible. And he would count it off so fast. He had his solo really set, and he plays the tune every night. But we did as good as we could. It was a pretty nerve-wracking thing to do. But that's when the Grammys actually were pretty interesting. Now they're held in the Staples Center, which seats thousands and thousands, just a big rock show, and it's really not too comfortable for somebody like me to listen to. It's funny, the year that I lost, I brought my grown daughter out with me. Remember us going down Hollywood and Vine in a cab, and by then she had her phone out and she's typing, and she said, "Dad, are we in Hollywood?" And I just said, "Well, look up, get off your phone." Anyway, she was having a great time at the show, but I had had enough after about an hour. It's uncomfortable seating and people standing up, and we had good seats, but it's a huge rock show. So I decided to take a break. There was a little area with vending machines, and I just kind of sat there. I had a Coke, had some candy or something. About 10 minutes later, Bob Mintzer came out from another door, from another place, said, "Man, I can't take it anymore." And I said, "Well, come on, sit down. We'll have a good time." 10 minutes later, literally, Jimmy Haslip out of another door. I can't take it anymore. So the three of us had a really good time by the vending machines. We missed the rest of the show, but we had a good time telling stories out there.
That's cool.
And I wish them well. I wish Naris, they're trying to get a little more organized. They had some real big problems this year. Scandalous stuff.
What was there a boost in your career as you got Grammys, maybe after the first one, or was there anything you could tell that was going on with your career because of that award?
This business is tough. I remember after the first one, which was on Concord Records, that week I sold 125 records as opposed to 40 in the sales sheet. So I got a spike of like 90. That's how bad it was. And this was in 1997. You can imagine it now. And I always tell this story. I got signed to GRP eventually. The gist of the story is I was supposed to do a record for them. And before I got to do the record, I was dropped from the label because they were having financial difficulties. One day like this, I get the Grammy in the mail and my letter from the record company that I had been dropped the same day.